Last night, Van Jones spoke about how he felt after it became clear that Donald Trump would be the nation's 45th president.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare. It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared. And then you have this outcome, and you have people putting children to bed tonight, and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of, how do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country? I have families of immigrants that are terrified tonight. This was many things. This was a rebellion against the elites. True, it was a complete reinvention of politics and polls, it's true. But it was also something else. We've talked about race. I mean, we've talked about everything but race tonight. We've talked about income. We've talked about class. We've talked about region. We haven't talked about race. This was a whitelash. This was a whitelash against a changing country. It was a whitelash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes. And Donald Trump has a responsibility tonight to come out and reassure people that he is going to be the president of all the people who he insulted and offended and brushed aside. Yeah, when you say, you want to take your country back, you got a lot of people who feel that we're not represented well either. But we don't want to feel that someone has been elected by throwing away some of us to appeal more deeply to others.
Joining me now is CNN political commentator Van Jones. Van, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both said they want to work together to unify this country. Obviously, the onus to a large degree is on the president-elect to reach out to people like you and people that you were referring to last night. What would you suggest that he needs to say, and do you think he would try?
I hope that he will. I think, the president has asked us to have an open mind about this. I think Hillary Clinton has said have an open mind about this. I just want you to know I have Muslim friends who are asking, should they leave the country? Are they going to be interned? I mean, you can't imagine the level. All they've heard is ban you, ban you, ban you. They don't know what that means. He needs to clarify what he's talking about. I have a lot of Latino friends. I had staff members today crying on the staff call because they have families that are just terrified. Should I sell my house? So I think you have one conversation that's sort of very easy and, oh well, let's talk about the polls and this and that, and you have people who are in terror right now and who are hurting and who are afraid to send their daughters to school in their hijabs because they don't know what's going to happen. And so there's a real responsibility there. It's not just the president though. All of us have to figure out a way to reach out to each other. With Obama, everything was wrong. Obama had to fix it. No, it's a country that has to come together, not just the political class. The Trump phenomenon is a complex phenomenon. It is a righteous rebellion against the elites. It is a righteous stand for economic opportunity. It is a patriotic movement. But it is also marbled with all kinds of other stuff. All kinds of xenophobias and the KKK endorsements and all these other things. And we can't be in a situation where we only talk about the things that are offensive, or we can't talk about the things that are offensive. We got to be able to talk about both. And that requires real trust, and trust is earned over time. But I was able to sit in the home with Trump voters, and if you want to look on my Facebook page, you can go, and you got 3 episodes there called The Messy Truth, where we really go back and forth, but it's heartful and it's honest and it's hopeful. And I believe that we're either going to turn to each other or on each other as Americans. Everybody's got to take responsibility. Nobody has to leave their truth at the door, but we do have to be willing to hear each other's truths and not agree. Democracy doesn't mean you agree, but it does require that you understand. And we've now gone past the level of being able to even understand each other anymore, and that's the danger.
So a lot of Trump voters that I've spoken with this season would say, let me play devil's advocate and say what they might say to you, which is they don't agree with the Ku Klux Klan. They're not racist. They're not xenophobic. They believe that Washington is broken. They believe that these small towns in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan have been ignored by Democrats and Republicans. And this isn't against someone. This is for themselves.
Right.
What would you say to them?
I would say, listen, you are right to have real grievances. It is, in fact, true. There was a bipartisan elite consensus to throw the working class under the bus. Both political parties signed these trade deals, deregulated the banks, built prisons everywhere, and left us to the buzzards. That happened. That is true. And yet, for these throwaway lines to you about Muslims, about Mexicans, land like bombs in the lives and the ears and the homes of other Americans. And you have to take responsibility for the fact that some of those things really, really hurt. Maybe to you, oh, he's just joking. He really means this. But if you're that Muslim mom sending that little girl out the front door with a hijab on, you feel it differently. And if we're going to be one country, when somebody hurts, they're hurting. When someone is hollering, they're hollering because they're hurt. And you can't keep telling people your hurt doesn't matter. You didn't want us to say your hurt didn't matter in the Rust Belt. Please don't say our hurt doesn't matter elsewhere. Let's all come together.